Hello, good evening, welcome to the show. It's really good to be back. I lie straight away about that, having spent 3 weeks or so in Australia and New Zealand, slipping away for a cheeky holiday, coming back to these sub-zero temperatures. I know you're feeling sorry for me, but don't, because we've got a great show lined up this evening. And, you know, we've had some famous managers in this studio over the years, the 8 years that we've been doing this show. I made a bit of a list earlier of famous managers: Neil Warnock, Gary Megson, Carlos Carvalho, Chris Wilder, who else? Paul Heckingbottom quite recently, Ronnie Moore, Paul Warne, Dave Bassett, Danny Wilson, Chris Turner. And I'm delighted to say Chris Turner is in the studio this evening, but I'm especially delighted and particularly honoured tonight to welcome the assistant manager of Sheffield Sunday League side, Royal Oak FC. A very warm welcome to Steve Bracknall. You know,
Thank you very much, Alan.
You've been a target of mine for some time now.
I just want to say I'm a bit nervous. It's my first time in front of cameras, but I'm in awe of this setup. I've had a green room. He's given me a cup of tea, and I'm sat there. When I was 15 years old, me and first team manager Paul Sampson were at Wembley watching this man lift League Cup, and I'm in awe tonight. So I'm in very esteemed company.
You're sitting next to him, and Chris, I mean, you're here to pick up a few tips.
Yeah, most definitely. Always ready to learn.
Successful manager.
Successful manager gets the best out of his players. Looking forward to listening to what he's going to say tonight. Yeah,
and in fact, in the Royal Oak as we speak, I think you said earlier, June and Terry have got the big screen, got you on the big screen.
Massive night for us, mate. I rang Terry. They've been landlord and landlady at Oak for about 25 years then, honestly. Right, you ain't get better than them. I rang them, I says, nah then, Channel 7, Freeview, get it on. They said, usually quiz starts at, they have a bit of bingo at 7, then quiz starts about 8:07, they've said, we'll delay it. And I'm touched by that. So I just want to say hello to everybody at Royal Oak.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of people there tonight.
Oh, it'll be rammed in there tonight.
Absolutely.
Rammed. Massive.
Yeah, and you've become massive, haven't you?
Listen, I set out me with one aim, to try and represent grassroots football and raise platform for it. I didn't realise the support we'd get, and it humbles me. So I'm here as an humble assistant. See, Paul Sampson's first team manager.
Yeah.
Me and him work tactically together, but I don't know how to call it. I'm exuberant, and that's why I come and do media side of things.
Yeah. What have your results been like this season? You won't have played lately, will you, because of the weather?
Up and down, if I'm honest, up and down. We're 6th at the minute, but we've got 7 games in hand. If we win them, we can go joint top with Killamarsh. It's all to play for. We play at Wing Gardens, that's next to the river. That's a nightmare, because when it rains, it floods. And at minute, it's rock solid on there. And I won't risk my players. When I was younger, I did my ACL, my sen, and that's why I never made it. But I've got to be careful with all that sort of stuff. So we'll take great precautions. We'll follow rules and regs with Imperial League. We'll come on to them later. And then, hopefully, realistically, it'll be after in January now when we get back playing.
Do you see a future for this guy in the league game, Chris?
Well, I think his record and his manager speaks for themselves. And I think the reaction that they get from Twitter, followers especially.
This guy's got nearly 15,000 Twitter followers. There aren't many pub team assistant managers who've got 15,000 followers.
There's not many Football League managers who've got 15,000 followers.
No. I do all Twitter and Facebook and that, and then our Olivia now does TikTok. Don't ask me. I ain't got a clue about it, but she says, Dad, you're going viral. I says, Olivia, you deal with that, I'll deal with Twitter. I've got my head around that.
Yeah.
And it's just nice that we can have... I think what gets lost in modern game is our clubs communicate with fans. And I like one-to-one communication with fans. They let me know how we can improve as a club. And I have an open book. So they have a look at inner workings at Sunday League Pyramid.
Yeah. And, you know, you've got a lot of fans. You really have. I mean, if all those fans came to your games, you'd have nearly 15,000 there.
Well, I wish. But let's be right about it. Your average game, like any club, we might get a minibus. That goes. Terry and June do bacon sarnies in the morning. And I don't know, let's say we're playing... if we're playing Dronfield, we won't get as many. We might get 8 on minibus. Play Mosborough, we're our rivals, and we'll get into that. Or play at Nag's Head, who's Brian Marshall's team. I'll not say out about him. He'll be Fort Watershed.
It's live.
It's live, and then before Watershed, and I've got respect for bloke. I won't badmouth him. But if we're playing Mosborough Marshall's team, we could take 4 minibuses full, and that's a rate following that. And I don't need to do. With games like that, you don't need to do team talks.
No, I bet. Deadly rivals. We've seen some of your videos, you know, and I'm a recent convert, and we're going to see a little clip from one of them this evening. And they've absolutely, you mentioned the word viral, they've caught fire. But also, we're going to talk about current affairs, obviously the World Cup, England's performance, Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United. I'll get the view from the Royal Oak and your team in a minute, but Chris, who's going to win the World Cup? That's an easy question to start.
Well, it's very difficult, isn't it? There's only 2 teams left now. I think Argentina will win, but I wouldn't bet against France either. I think it's going to be a tie game, and I think the 2 players everybody talks about, Mbappe and Messi, it's going to be a big game for them. Obviously, whichever one of them's going to turn it on the day will, I think, will make that particular country win the game.
Would either of those get in your team at the Royal Oak?
I'd take Lionel, but he'll have to, like everybody, he'll have to do trials at Niagara every summer. We have an open day, and they can come and have a look at him. He'd fit nicely. Our captain, Winnie, plays a Messi role, Winnie. I tell him before matches, just float about. That great. All talk other day were about Mbappe this, Mbappe that, Mbappe this. And what did I say to our Nicky watching that? I says, watch that Griezmann. He'll just float about. He'll just float about and he can't pick him up. And what did he do? He absolutely ruined us.
Point. Well, case proved. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So, what's the Royal Oak view on England then, and Gareth Southgate's future?
What's my view on England? It's all right. It's all right winning Senegal. It's like I said to lads, it's all right going to Darnell and playing whoever we're playing Greenhill, who were in E Division. It's all right when Cup Draw gets put out, Blade Super Draw, you get Greenhill, you think, all right, we'll turn them over. What matters is when you get Mosboroughs and when you get Answorths. That's when you've got to perform. So, listen, we've got a bright future. There's some good lads coming through. But, and it's a big but, you've got to beat the best to win World Cup. And as of yet, he hasn't done that. So, I think Judy's still out, mate.
Is it? Wait, Chris, you know about the pressures of management. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday's huge. You were manager there for a time. I imagine that there was a weight off your shoulders when you actually got sacked. So is Gareth Southgate thinking in similar terms? Relatively, obviously, England's a lot bigger. But the feeling is that he maybe decided, I'll do the World Cup and then I'll go because this is too pressurised.
Well, I think it's not so much it's the pressure, it's what it takes out of you leading into tournaments, the 2 to 4 weeks that you're in the tournament, mentally it will drain him. And, to ask him after a game when you've just got beaten in a quarter-final is very, I thought that was wrong. He's got to go away, sit down over the next few weeks, speak with his wife, because it does affect the whole family, and decide. I think we have got some great young players, and they showed it in spasms in this World Cup, but we had great players 10, 15 years ago. We've always had great players, but we don't seem to get together and playing well in the big games like we just played against France. We did well in the second half. We never started the game well. And then I think the big decisions in that game, in the Croatia game, in the Italian Nations final, we didn't get them right. We didn't get the big decisions that change the game, that win us the games, and they haven't been right. And
would you like Southgate to stay?
I personally think Southgate is a fitting manager for English FA, for English football, because it's not turn up, train the lads a couple of sessions, play a game in midweek, or play a couple of games in the Nations Cup and all that. It's massive. You've got to go to clubs, you've got to speak with managers, you've got to speak with players, you've got to pick players up when they're down at the clubs, you've got to play them in national games, you've got to win national games, you've got to be a media guy that can speak to the media. I think Gareth does all that. He's very, very fitting in all of that. But the fans who go and travel around the world, and the fans who sit at home in their armchairs and watching England play, or watching in the pubs, watching in a pub like Stevie and his boys, they want to see England win something.
Best record since Sir Alf. Best tournament record since Sir Alf.
Well,
And we're so close.
and we are
And the
so
players
close.
has gelled with the
Yeah.
manager. You can tell that.
There's
a lot to throw away, I think.
Well, I think you know, what do we do? Do we give them into the European Nations Cup in 2 years? And if we don't win that, do we change the manager then? Then it affects the World Cup, which will only be then 2 years away.
So
You know,
Well, the FA are solidly with him,
Well, I
aren't
think
they?
the FA, the FA are not going to release him.
he's just going to read the room.
It's going to be of Gareth, and Gareth will know that if we don't play well in the nations, European nations, the crowd's going to be, the press is going to be.
Yeah.
Does he want to go down that line and have all that, and then have to resign
Mind
or
you,
be
if
marched out?
if it's made clear, I'm just going to do that tournament and then I'm going to go, and if both parties say that, then there won't be the level of criticism because he's going anyway at the end of the
Well,
tournament.
but Alan, you know what happens to the managers when they. I mean, we didn't have a great run into the World Cup.
No,
If
we
you
didn't.
remember, we got stuff 4-0 home by Hungary. What
Yeah.
would Steve have said coming into that game?
I can echo what Chris has said there, to be honest with you. Because going back to the pressure we were under, and he were under pressure, I understand it. There's no worse. About 4 weeks ago, we went out to, we played Burley FC, and that's a tough place to go at. We lost 4-0, didn't turn up. I know lads didn't want it as soon as they got on park. And there's no worse than coming back into Boozer at Royal Oak after, having lost 4-0 and saying to Carpet Dave or saying to Froggy or Chippy P, we've lost 4-0. And they're all saying, well, you're representing pub out here, Steve, what's going on? You're not fit for purpose. And I've got to keep up appearances in pub. Of course I have. But when I go back home to our Nicky, I do take it home with me. I do.
And you get some abuse from your supporters,
Of course I do. But I'll stand. I'm thick-skinned, me, Alan. I can take it. I've been doing this 25 years now. There's no I don't know. I came from Chris Wilder's school of thought, me, and he managed Bradway. We all know that. All right, I went and did sparking. He went on to other things, but still, it's that man. It's in there. And our Nicky, when she's watching Line of Duty at night, don't want me sulking. So there's a lot riding on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's under pressure. And if he don't get it right in Germany in 18 months, he'll be villain. The stakes are high.
You're under pressure too.
I am. Listen.
Do you think you could get sacked?
Listen. I've got best owners in Terry and June. You can keep your Saudis, keep them at Man City. We've got trust, and that you can't buy trust between. Dan know it about chairman. Who were your chairman at Wednesday?
Dave Allen, wasn't it?
Dave Allen.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to have a good working relationship with your owners. And I've said recently to Terry and June, we need some investment off pitch because football now is about as much off it as it is on it. Sad state of affairs. So recently we've just announced 2-year sponsorship deal with Carpet Dave. He's been supping in Oak for about 20 years. Comes in, does early bar for an hour every night. Comes out with air lass on Saturdays. He said, Steve, I believe in club. I'll invest 10% off carpets for players and staff. And now, that might sound like no, but that buys us bibs, balls. All that is wrapped up now. All pressure on race nights, on meat hampers, on raffles has gone now, and me and Paul can focus on what really matters, and that's tactics.
Right. Tell me this: are the Royal Oak players and the people, the regulars there, owls or blades?
That's a very contentious issue, and I mentioned it to lads on Twitter and that. I'm a Wednesday, aren't I? I've watched his teams. I was here at Wembley, and I could cry now thinking about it. One of the best days of my life. And sorry. And I've got Addy, who's a blade. I've got Tommy, who's staunch Wednesday. And Tommy, other week, start of last season at Christmas, training before Christmas, turns up dressed as Carlos Tevez. Just to wind Addy up, I says, lads, I'm not having it. You leave that there. And when you come and play for Oak, you're together as one. And you play for that badge, not them badges. I'm not having it. It's schoolboy stuff. I'm not getting into it.
Right, okay. So is there a view on... Well, I'll tell you what, I'll leave this question about your view on Sheffield Wednesday and how they're doing at the moment for a couple of minutes. But I'm just wondering, is there potential in what you're doing in putting across the life of an assistant manager at a Sunday team? Is there potential for TV, a series of some kind, do you think?
I've had offers from all sorts of people about do this, do that. There's opportunities to develop this. I says, look, I've been doing this 25 years. It don't matter if there's a camera on me or a camera off me. What you see is what you get. If someone wants to come and document that, they're more than welcome. I've no to hide. I'm not like Brian Marshall. I've no to hide.
So you've had interest then?
There's always interest. There's people sniffing about. Listen, during pandemic, we couldn't make any money. I'm coming back to the money side of things and investment. And a bloke called Gary Wainwright, who owns, well, I shouldn't say it, but he owns Mailing Motors down Mailing Bridge. He's all right, Wainwright. I've got no against him personally, but you won't want him owning your club. And he comes sniffing. He's up in Pointing Dog down Ecclesall Road. You know what type. Brogues on. I won't say too much. And he comes sniffing, talking to Paul. And Paul will admit it. He got blindsided. And Wainwright's promising this, promising that. And I says, all right, before you know it, we'll be a craft pub. It'll change badge. And I'm glad now that there's this independent regulator coming on board, because football needs it. And not only at top at Pyramid, at bottom at Pyramid, because you've got clubs like High Green Villa, Answorth Boys, Sheffield Rangers, historic clubs that are absolutely vital in our community. And it only takes some 10 bob millionaire to come in, change badge, change colour, and lot's gone. You might as well get 25 years of history and just pour it straight down bog. And I'm not having it to Oak. And so if someone wants to come and document that, doors open.
You in for a regulator too, Chris, for the whole game?
Well,
it's coming.
The game needs it. See, Steve's
Long
just mentioned
overdue.
it. It's
Can't run itself, can it?
It can't run itself, and it has been running itself.
Yeah, and ruining itself.
And these fly-by-nights have been coming into clubs over the years and ruining clubs and nearly taking.
You go up to Answorth now. They've got 4G pitches. They've got clubhouses. I don't know where money's coming from, Miss N. Hammond and Pincers at same. Money's coming in from all sorts of angles. It's not Qataris or out like that. It's rich Sheffield businessmen. You've got to protect the soul of clubs. They're very historic things and very personal things to people.
And you represent that without a doubt. Can I just say that a book publisher, journalist that I know, works for the Sheffield Star, called Danny Hall, today said to me, just ask him whether he'd be interested in a book deal. How about that? Hey, what about that?
Tell him to get on Twitter with me. I'll give him 4 volumes because I've got a lot to say. And it's not just about football. Tell him to put... But I've heard all this talk before. I'll offer you this, we'll give you that. What about this? Let's see it on table. That's what I said to Wainwright. Get money on table and then we'll talk. If not, get out at Boozer.
All right, there you go, Mr. Hall. There you go.
Get in touch, mate.
Get your money on the table. Right. Look, one of the videos that went viral, and there have been a lot of memorable videos lately from Steve Bracknall, from the Sunday pub side, the Royal Oak FC, was very touching. It was very emotional. It you know, Steve is a character. It's easy to sort of giggle along with, shall we say? You're a fun character, but there's a serious side to you. And you sat down with a player.
I can't vape in here, can I?
Not officially.
All right, mate.
Not officially. yeah.
I won't take Mickey.
As far as I'm concerned, you can vape.
No, I won't take Mickey.
I know that this is probably a difficult watch for you as well as us. A player in your team, you were having a go at him actually, because he was a striker. What's his name?
Tommy. Number 9, Tommy. What a player.
Got off the boil, wasn't scoring. You were putting the nets away and you happened to see him in the dressing room. There's a bit of preamble to it that we can't show because, believe it or not, there was a bit of swearing on it. I can't believe it.
I always said warts and all, me.
There was swearing on it. But this is the final minute of that, and just watch this.
Put the on garden leave and have some time off from Oak.
I don't feel alright when I'm out with lads, it takes my mind off it. I enjoy playing still.
I've been supping a lot, I'm going to talk straight with it.
It's get out of the house for something to do to take my mind off it.
I don't do nothing in wing. You used to like badminton, you don't do that no more. Who else knows?
I said no to no one, please don't tell lads, please.
Stays between me and Dean. I ain't even tell our Nick. I'll come for Sunday dinner. But roast beef.
Cauliflower cheese,
Cauliflower cheese.
roast parsnips.
Go on then. What will do.
Right. Loved it. And I mean that.
Hey,
That's an hard watch, that. That is an hard watch.
even for you. I mean, that got me that.
I
You,
mean
Chris,
it.
and you. Is he? Tell me how he is.
He's all right. He's all right. Listen, when we started filming videos, I said, listen, we'll leave, like I said, full transparency, warts and all. That day, he'd missed 2 rate sitters. Parks has gone down wing, bombing on. He's put a rate ball in. And one of them balls, that's, you'll know him, between defence and between keeper, it's absolutely sat there to be put away. And he's blasted it wide. And he knew, and I knew. And I didn't want to single him out because it would have bad performance all round. So I thought I'll leave it till end when lads have gone and I were giving him a lift back to up, blah de blah. So I said it, and I didn't expect that reaction, to be honest with you, and it took me back. But mark my words, the health, physical health, and the mental health of our players is of paramount importance. No, my number one priority as an assistant.
Did he get cauliflower cheese?
I don't like it. I nick it is absolutely insistent because I'll tell you why I don't like it, because when that cheese sauce goes into gravy, it goes weird and I'm not into it, but I know he likes it because when we went on staff do, we went down to, I took all lads to Dogs for Christmas do last year and he were woofing it down and I said to him, I thought, what do we him here? I says, come on, we've got it. And anyway, he come back, I had Olivia and I Ben with you and we had Sunday dinner, and I'll deal with that matter privately, as it should be done.
Yeah.
Done properly. And now he's all right, and he'll get back to scoring goals, Tommy. He's a natural. It reminds me of David Hirst, to be honest.
Right.
When Hirst, you were proper Hirst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In those days, and when you played and when you managed, mental health wasn't even considered.
Never
was
mentioned, no. I mean, watching that clip there that Steve's doing there with his player, he's obviously said a few harsh words prior to that clip that we saw. In professional football, in any level of football, managers didn't in those days think about what Steve thought. I'll sit down and have a chat with him and try and get what out of him. And mental health is massive in all walks of life. And a professional footballer is deemed from the outside with supporters, coaches and managers, that he can handle everything.
Yeah.
And it's a results-based business.
And it's a results-based business.
Very
and as a
pressurised.
striker, he should be scoring the goals. And you think, well, why are you not scoring? And it could be totally something away from football.
Even as an old campaigner at it 25 years, he's adapted
Learning.
to the modern world, isn't he?
You learn.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's the end of part 1 and the end of Steve Bracknall. You've got to go.
I'm going to go back to Oak. They've all doing pub quiz and watching them. I said I'd join them, so I want to thank you very much, mate.
Thanks, Steve.
Legend, pal. And I absolutely mean that.
Thank you, Steve.
Likewise.
Really
that.
enjoyed meeting you.
Legend, pal.
In part 2, to join Chris Turner, we've got musician and Sheffield Wednesday fan Chris McClure. Do you know Chris McClure?
I think I saw him earlier.
Well, oh, he arrived just as we came in the studio. Do you know Chris?
When I know Cookie from Monkey's uncle, and he got his tickets for Arctic Monkeys, met him there, nice kid.
Nice kid. All right, that's a good
Look
try.
forward to that.
Steve Bracknall, thanks very much. Rejoin us in 4 or 5 minutes. See you then.